Are you ready?
Starting now?
Now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
You know, but
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And if anyone has been does anyone pay attention to our posts anymore on Instagram?
How the hell would I know?
I know. As soon as I say this every time, if anyone's been paying attention, we have a guest this week. Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I don't know if people pay attention. But you know what? We do have a guest. And if I sound a little bit echoey, I'm not in my same spot. I feel echoey now that I'm talking. But whatever. Fuck it. It's a professional environment, right, Mike?
Right, exactly. Sure. I'll co-sign that bullshit.
Well, good. All right, so we do have a guest, and I am going to let her introduce herself, and then we'll get started. So, guest, who are you?
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Katie. I am actually Bill's son's girlfriend, so Derek's girlfriend. I work in the mental health field. I am a mental health technician. So basically what I do, I work with residential programs, and I spend time with the residents, get to know them, helping them through using their skills and everything, and just supporting as they need it. I am a normie, and I am also young, so that's something new.
Yeah, we've had a couple of normies on here, not too many, but yeah, you might be, gosh, I think you might be the youngest person we've had. So yeah, Katie, and you're 22, right?
Yep, turning 23 soon.
Okay, yeah, because Derek is going to be 23 in October, and then yours is shortly after that, right?
Yep.
Okay,
December.
That's what I thought. No, that's what I thought. But yeah, I didn't know if you'd want to actually identify yourself as the young man's girlfriend, but you should have flipped it around the other way and said that Derek is your boyfriend. Take ownership of him. You know, that's what you should have done.
Yeah, I was kind of like questioning if I was going to disclose that, but I figured you already put it in the post, so I guess I can own that one.
I know. It's, yeah, I got to own him too. So, and Mike also has been around him for 13 and a half years. So, fuck it. I guess he's sticking around, or we got to stick, I don't know, something like that. But,
right.
But, yeah, so we had talked, well, I guess step back a little bit. Back and forth since we've been doing this. I know that you listen to the podcast every once in a while, which is cool. I know that Derek has been listening, and surprisingly enough, I don't think it's just the two of you, because we do get a little bit of a spike in that younger audience, that 18 to whatever it is, 24 range, which is interesting to both of us. But one of the reasons that obviously we wanted to have you on was not just because of that, but obviously we know you, and you've asked a lot of questions of me. We've talked, and all of us have talked. So we thought it'd be interesting, but also I think just what you do for a living and what you went to school for, and that's a lot of the conversations that we've had and a lot of questions that came up. So I think it's going to be hopefully interesting for everyone, because it's a little bit different perspective from what we normally, or who we normally have as a guest. So I think it's cool.
Sure.
But so do you want to just, I guess, give us a little background? How in the hell did you get, I don't know, did you get tied up with, people like us? Not like Mike and us, but I mean people in your work situation.
Sure. So I went to school, and originally when I went to school, I was going to be a physical therapist. And I was in the middle of classes, middle of science classes, and I was like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. So I had one psychology class. That was all it took, and I loved it. I did so well in it. And so I just took that and kind of ran with it. But at the same time, I was also, I've struggled with depression and anxiety for years. And I was already going to therapy when I had that one psychology class, and it kind of tied things in a little bit for me. And I was like, hey, I really like this. And it's something that I can see myself doing. I can empathize with people who have mental health issues or struggling with their mental health. And I was in my senior year of college, and I was looking for something to get a quote unquote big girl job. And so I found where I'm working now. I've been there for a little over a year, and I work primarily with individuals who are struggling with depression, but I also, like every weekend, I'm always with our addiction unit. And I have grown to really love that. I've actually pushed, I've pushed so hard to try to get more hours with the addiction unit, but they try to make everybody happy. So I don't get as many hours there as I like to, but I absolutely love what I do. And I see myself, I'm actually looking into getting my SACIT. If people don't know what that is, it's substance abuse counselor in training.
Nice.
So I'm looking into that currently. I haven't started pursuing it yet, but I'm looking into it. So I really love doing it.
So when you got the job, and we had already talked about it. Obviously, we're not going to say where you work, but first of all, I've known of the facility for years, and it's the main facility's been around for a long, long time. So very reputable place, and I know they specialize in obviously addiction and all those sort of things. Did you just find that job like on a whim, or how did you end up? I don't even think I know that how you ended up finding that job.
So I actually found it. My stepbrother, his girlfriend, was working at a different location, but same organization. She was working there at the time, and when I was in school and doing everything, she was like, "Oh, I think you would really like this." So she actually recommended it to me, and I decided to look into it. I applied, got the job, and here we are.
Nice. And you had talked about it at one point of actually going back and for further schooling. Is that, and what did you call that? A SACIT?
Yeah, so that's not necessarily like actual schooling. Which I still plan on doing, when I go back to school, I will go for getting my master's in social work. So with the SACIT, um, it's primarily obviously a substance abuse counseling, but you don't have to have your master's for it, so it's a little more open, I guess, on like where you can go with it. But I do want to have my master's so that I can eventually be a therapist. So it's a little bit different, kind of confusing, but
Okay. No, I've never heard of the term SACIT before. I mean, not that I not that I necessarily would have. I don't know that I certainly don't know everything when it comes to addiction and that sort of thing and all the different I don't know categories and schooling and all that stuff. But does that sound like something that Heidi does or used to do, or I mean, is that it? I don't know.
Well,
Kind of getting
Heidi's an
glimpses.
RN.
Oh, she is. God, I don't know if I
Yeah.
knew. Did I know she? I don't know if I knew she was an RN.
Well, now you do.
Well, this will be
But
embarrassing if she actually listens to
right,
the podcast.
she doesn't have time.
Right.
Um, she's an RN, but she works in sounds like a fairly similar facility Yeah, dope heads and nut jobs.
Right. Um, so what are you?
I can say that because I'm both.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, and she knows. Yeah, we both are. And I think at this point, the people that listen to us, at least I would hope the people that listen to us understand that we talk talk about that. But again, we are that. So we're little nuts and we're alcoholics, dope heads, all that sort of stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
So, what are your when you're dealing in that unit? What are your duties? What would you say that you do here? I guess is what what I'm asking.
Wow. I kind of went over a little bit of it before. I really am like kind of like the front lines, I would say. So I am with the residents more than they are probably even with their therapist.
Okay.
Um, so so like I work weekends, therapists don't work weekends. And we spend a lot of time just chilling out with them. If they seem to be really struggling on a certain day, like whether they're, say, having cravings or dealing with other things with their mental health, even like if they're struggling with a family situation, or I had one resident recently who was struggling with even part of her 12 steps, and she wasn't sure exactly what to do. She was struggling with looking forward to how her mom was going to react to it. Um, and so I just kind of helped her and walked her through using certain skills to help regulate her emotions and just get her in a spot where she felt at least okay. Because I'm not going to say she felt good, but
Right.
Right.
because I can't imagine that it would ever feel good when you're
Right.
struggling with something like that. But just helping with things like that. And I mean, we spend so much time with the residents. We get to know them. I get to know them so well over their time with the organization. And I love it. I really do. But I also get to give you guys meds.
Well,
So,
and that was
um,
my next question. If you were on the medication side of it too.
yes, I am. So I don't prescribe anything, of course, because I'm not smart enough for that. Um,
You just
but
don't have
I
the piece of
am,
paper.
right. But I am smart enough to know what certain meds do and what to give you and what time to give it to you based on what it tells me to do.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
understood. Yeah, and is the unit that you're in a detox unit and like an inpatient treatment facility, or how is that? I'm just trying to relate it to, like I went to a detox unit where we did groups and stuff like that, but I mean that was 6 days, whereas I mean yours your residents are there more on a long term, like an inpatient halfway house type of thing, right? Or no?
Kind of. So our highest level with this, where I work, is inpatient. And inpatient for us is more like a detox. Um, they come in and they typically, I think it's about a week, few days to a week.
Right.
They're on inpatient, but with residential, their average is about 30 days. Some are longer, some are obviously shorter, but average is about 30 days. And then from there, a lot of people do go to like a sober living facility, kind of like what I imagine the Keating Center is like.
Sure.
So it's not a long term, but it's not as short as like a detox or inpatient.
Okay, no, understood. And I think, Mike, that's kind of what Stella was, right? Stella had their detox unit that was didn't they have like a 28
Mm-hmm.
day type of thing, detox then in there, and then they went into the.
Yeah. Right, and then they'd go over into the residential, which was very much like the Keating Center. So this is basically like a medical facility, right? A wing of a medical facility, sort of.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're more of like a hospital
Right.
than we would be like an actual like sober living facility.
Sure.
Like we're just kind of like that step down as they're preparing to go to sober living facilities,
Right.
but it's not as intense as like detoxing.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Place to sit your ass down and, mellow your mind out for a little bit to get ready to start changing your life.
Well, and I know that in I guess one of the biggest differences with what you do, or the facility you work at versus the Keating Center is the Keating Center is not a medical. There's no medical, no meds or anything like that. There's not even now, Mike, right?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. They do a different type of a program, so you have a different organization working with them, but it's not like a medical type of situation. Certainly not like a lockdown facility or anything like that. And most people, unless there's an odd circumstance, have to detox before they go into the Keating Center, because if somebody seizes up or whatever the case is, they just don't have the staff to handle that sort of thing. So yeah,
Right.
that
makes sense.
yeah, and I mean it sounds like you've got the I'll say the best of both worlds, I guess, in there where you've got the medical side of things where they can actually tear down and stay within the facility for that 28 days or something like that. Now, during that time frame, because you mentioned the steps, are they introduced to a 12-step program like to Alcoholics Anonymous, or how does that work, or is it their
Yes.
choice?
Yep.
Okay.
So we have in our group room, we have the 12 steps and the 12 traditions. It's on the wall. We not their therapist or behavioral specialist, but we have a recovery support specialist, and she goes through the 12 steps with them. Um, they they go to meetings throughout the week, have meetings in the group room, like on campus. They do, it is a 12-step program for the
Okay.
most
Mhm.
part. A little bit different than what you guys went through, but it is 12 steps based.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like St. Paul's here, Rosary Hall. Yeah, it's an inpatient thing, and there's a detox there, and I've been to some meetings at that place.
Oh,
It's in
really?
a hospital. Yeah. It's been a long time. It was actually before I got sober, but I went to meetings there. Yeah, when I was, pretending like I was trying to be sober.
Right.
Um, but yeah, definitely in the hospital, and yeah, they would have meetings in the hospital. It sounds like it's the same thing there. Outsiders come in and run the meeting. Is that
Yeah,
accurate?
they usually it's like when they have on unit, it's usually just one person as a
Mhm.
speaker comes in and runs a meeting with them.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I did that.
Good.
The hospital that's up the road from that meeting that you and I went to, Mike, in Mequon.
Yeah.
There was a friend of
Yeah.
mine that I had met there that asked me to. I met her at our meeting, and she'd
Mm-hmm.
bring people from that meeting into the hospital every once in a while to do that. And
Right.
and I mean it was probably a handful of years ago now, but whatever it was a Thursday night meeting at like 7 o'clock or whatever the deal was, and it was
Mm-hmm.
like almost like a panel type of meeting, room full of people, IOP. And then I think there was three of us that ended up talking about or telling our stories or whatever the deal was. But yeah, it sounds like something kind of like a similar type of thing. And it was funny when after I got back to Wisconsin, but got back to Germantown, I had actually called the Community Memorial Hospitals where I detoxed, and I actually called there to see if I could volunteer to go in.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, we're all full. We've got set people in here. Leave your number.
Right.
And part of me was like, I want to help.
Right.
Which I'm like, don't you know who I was like 7 years ago?
Right.
Let me help.
I was sweating and puking in there. Come on.
No, and no, I was probably shit at that point. I might have been 5 years sober, come to think of it, because I moved. I think I moved back to Germantown in 2015. But either way, I mean, I was I was sober enough where I was like, God damn, I can help, right? Let me in there. But no, I mean that's cool because like the Keating Center too, and Mike, you probably explained it the best when you talk about and you describe the Keating Center, you always say what it is and how they introduce us to like AA and stuff like that. But you explain it far better than I do, so I'm going to let you explain kind of what the Keating Center
Yeah,
does.
well, I mean, what the Keating Center was,
Right.
it's a little different now, but yeah, I mean, back then it was all it was a safe place to be to start working the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. That's all it was. Yes, we had groups we went and sat in, and a lot of people from outside would come in and talk to us and stuff. But I mean, yeah, it was a safe place to be to start getting into a healthy routine and to get out and get involved in AA. That's all it was.
Right.
It's a little more now. Whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, and it was that way too, and it was interesting because that it was such a point. People were always make such a point that it wasn't rehab, it wasn't this and that, because it's not, and it truly
Right.
is. It's a sober living facility, and they just taught us how to be human beings at 41 and 43 years
Right.
old.
Right.
But yeah, Katie, I was interested.
Make your bed, wash the floor, wash your ass, go to a meeting.
and then clean everything in the facility 47 times a day.
Yeah.
It was funny, and I don't know if I ever told you this, Katie, but I used to, kind of try, if I had to explain it to somebody, I'm like, have you ever seen The Karate Kid? Because all that shit that Ralph Macchio's doing the entire time, the fucking wax on and scrub the floor and wipe the car
Right.
and all that stuff. That's literally what they were doing with us. We were doing all these different things. They were teaching us how to go through these motions and live, like productive adults, because even though we were, again, I've said this before, on paper, based on our ages, we were adults. And we had bills that we didn't pay, and we had relationships that we knew how to fuck up, but, we didn't know how to live, decent lives and stuff like that. But yeah, it was interesting. So you had, you'd said before, Katie, and I don't even know if numbers or anything like that, but you said, I mean, clearly you see people come back around, correct? I mean, people that come in, go through the thing, and what, in bad term maybe, but in around all of us people, we call them retreads or that sort of thing, and I'm sure you see that quite a bit, right? Is it a large number, or how does that work?
I've had the last year I've been there, obviously, there's one specific one that it just kills
There
me
always
every
is.
single time I see them. He's been in the residential program 3 times, but even between that, I've seen him in inpatient a couple times since then. I actually had a dream a couple weeks ago that he was back, and it scared the absolute shit out of me. I was like, I hope this isn't real.
Right.
Because I hate seeing it. I love seeing that they're coming back and trying again, but at the same time, it sucks.
Right.
But yeah, it's not a ton, but there is a handful.
Okay. Well, and that was one of the things that and Mike and I joke all the time about the 3 things we do that keeps us sober. And to begin with, it turned out to be it was started as a joke because we kept hearing from all these different people, look around the room, only 10 out of whatever will even make this, and blah blah blah. And it was all percentages, And then Marty, the guy who, again, very dear friend of ours still, but the one who ran and still runs the Keating Center there, used to say that, the Keating Center has 100%, has a 100% success rate if you do what we suggest and what we tell you to do and what we show you to do. You will succeed. But these statistics were just fucking pissing me off. And that's when Mike and I, developed the whole spite thing, because I'm like, well, fuck them then. We're going to stay sober and fuck you then.
Yep.
Yep.
We're gonna drink again? Fuck you if I will. I'm gonna show you, man.
That's right. Right. And the joke was, yeah, we're not going to, make our families' lives better and all that stuff. No, fuck all that. We're just going to show you.
We're not doing it for anyone else. We're doing it to shove it right up somebody's ass, going "fuck you."
Yep.
But I mean, also it's making the bed and having pizza every Friday night. Here's a great example. I know today is Thursday, but coming into town, I'm hanging out with a friend of mine tomorrow and Saturday night, and of course, usually we get pizza on Friday nights. That's our thing. So Mike had texted me and asked if we were doing it at the same time tonight. I said, I'm just rolling into town, and I said, plenty of time to get there, grab my pizza, and be ready for the podcast. And he texts me back, and he's like, "You realize it's Thursday, right?" He's like, "I just don't want you messing up your sobriety." And of course, fucking with me, but I'm like, okay, but
Of course.
But I felt the need to explain myself. I said, okay, I'm going to be hanging out with my friend tomorrow, and I'm considering tonight to be the end of my week, that's the other criteria, because Mike's end of week used to be
Right.
Thursday for years. And then I said on top of that, it's podcast night. So it all rolled into one. But yeah, I mean, 13 and a half years later, two of us are still fucking explaining ourselves. No, I'm doing this and still staying sober. It's okay. It's all right, man.
Well, a couple months ago, I had a resident who, I think it was a weekend day, and we have one of our staff members who he tells them to make their bed every day. And there was one day that he, I don't know if he didn't make his bed or if he, forgot to do something, whatever it was, he was like, "My whole day is off now." And I literally thought of you guys right away. I was like, "Oh, that sounds familiar." I've heard that before.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not the only ones. I mean, like the Keating Center folks, there's people that I know that I've met in different areas, including in Wisconsin and stuff like that, where making the bed's a thing. It's a thing with, with people who are recovering alcoholics and drug addicts. It's something that becomes adopted. I know for a fact it's not in the big book. It's not.
No.
It's not in any of the steps. Maybe it's in step 13. You should make it after. Well, never mind.
Anyway.
But it is. It's a thing. But Mike again used to always put that the way that why do I make my bed so the guy next to me doesn't have to look at my messed up bed. Why do I clean myself up so the guy next to me doesn't have to smell my ass?
Yep.
But it is. It's a routine thing. There was only one, I think only one day since I've been sober that I had to rush. My short story is my phone somehow got reset years ago when I was working for a company in Madison. I'm in a hotel. My phone clock got all messed up. I got up late. I had literally less than maybe an hour to get to work, but I did everything. I read everything real quick and said my fucking prayers really quick. I didn't really sit down and soak it in, but I took the action that day, And we talked about this plenty of times with a lot of different people, that there's been people that we have, and I'll say attempted to sponsor, right, Mike? That you ask a simple thing, and the one it was so simple. The 24-hour book is one that we've read since day one of the Keating Center when we were in there.
Yep.
And it's, a book that we still read every day. And that's all that I had asked the guy to do. I was trying to sponsor him. And I'm like, you don't have to do anything else. You're doing this whole thing over here. But every morning, continue, because he went through the Keating Center. I said, continue to read that 24-hour book. That'll get your day started. And I don't know how long I keep saying tried to work with him because the trying didn't help. And he kept saying, he's like, "Oh, I was running late. I was doing this and doing that." I'm like, you realize that I know how long it takes to read that, right? I mean, it's like 2 minutes, if that.
Yeah.
And that's
right.
Even if you try to really sometimes I read it twice because nothing sticks with me right away. That'll still only take 2 or 3 minutes. The total for me to read 4 books and do a set of prayers is 15, maybe 20 minutes. That's it, But he refused to do it. And then when did we?
Right.
It was within the last year that we saw him back at the Keating Center again. And when I was working with him, I don't think I was even. I might have been a year and a half sober. So
Sounds about right.
You know, in the 12-year period, it was like almost every time I went back there, he was back in the Keating Center. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
back in here, but I got it this time. I'm like, you know what to do, just do it.
Right.
You know, and again, like you said, Katie, is that you know, we're not laughing at people for coming back. Okay,
Right.
it's
Nope.
understanding, you know, the simplicity of some of these things that and we were told, Mike, what were we told over and over and over again? Come on, it's okay, you can tell.
Pray, go to meetings, help another drunk.
Right, that's it. You know, I mean, if all else fails, all you got to do is those three things, and the meeting thing goes in, you know, in line with what you guys are doing over there too, you know, because,
Right.
but that's something that I couldn't. I was doing it, but I didn't understand it, you know. But Mike
Well,
always,
that's the whole. Yeah. But you were doing it.
right,
That's the thing. You don't need to understand it. You don't need to feel it in your heart. You need to fucking do it.
right, and literally that,
Yeah. Oh, I mean, check it. I mean, okay. For some reason, last night I didn't set my alarm. I don't know why, but I didn't. I thought I did. I didn't. And I woke up 15 minutes later than I should have. My bed's made, and I did my readings. Like you said, I fucking rushed through that shit this morning. I still made it to work on time, but I did. I was like, God damn it! Well, and it wasn't even a thought of, well, I'll skip it, or I'll grab my books and take them with me,
Mhm.
or I'll just leave the bed unmade. I live by myself. Nobody's ever fucking sees my bed. You know, that's the weekends when Chris comes over. Nobody, you know, I could not make my bed 5 days a week, and nobody would know. I would know.
right,
Right. That bed got made, the books got read, and I shot my ass out the door, but it got done.
right. Yeah, and it's one of those. It's a non-negotiable for us. And I know I brought it up, you know, now probably I don't know how many 50 times, but the day Mom died, you know, and it's because it just doesn't it. And not that that doesn't matter. I'm not saying that, but regardless of what happens, we do those things, you know. And so, you know, back to what you were saying, Katie, I'm glad to hear that other people. I'm not glad to hear that somebody's day was, you know, like fucked up a little bit, but kind of I am, because it's easy to say, well, see, you make your bed next time, right? Read your book. But
Oh,
go ahead.
I remember what it was. It wasn't that he didn't make his bed. It was that, like, something wasn't in the right place. Like, the towels weren't in the right place or something like that. And he was like, this messed my whole day up. Like, I kind of laughed about it, but I'm like, kind of does. If you're used to that routine, like, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys said it, like, it kind of messes with your day a little bit. You feel off.
Right.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You know, again, dish in the sink. I cannot leave a dish in the sink, you know, overnight. It will not happen. You know, I remember I posted on Facebook.
Yeah, tell your story. I like
it. Yeah, I'd gotten off the road. This when I was still over the road, and I'd gotten home and I had done probably a 16, 17-hour day, and I was exhausted, and all I wanted to do was eat something and go to sleep. And I got home and I threw something on a plate, threw it in the microwave, and ate it. And I was like, I threw the dish in the sink, went and had a smoke, and you know, I was like, I'm going to bed. I'm so exhausted. And I went, nope, I gotta go wash that dish. And I posted on Facebook. I said, I almost left the dish in the sink. And the next thing, if I do that, next thing you know, I'll be shooting some heroin. And it's absolutely true. And, you know, people that don't understand it, but people that do absolutely do. There are things that I have to do, actions I have to take that don't seem like they have nothing to do with sobriety. They have nothing to do with anything, but there are things that I have to do. I can't just leave it. If I leave it, then I start leaving other things, and then I start leaving important things. I stop making my bed. I stop reading my books. I stop holding that door for that old lady. I stop letting people cut in front of me, and then I start getting pissed off, and then I gotta medicate because that's the only thing I know how to do. So you know what? I'm gonna wash that plate.
Right.
I'm gonna make my bed. Damn it.
So when and it's been long enough ago when maybe people have forgotten about this story, but I know you'll remember it, Mike. So our and you never, Katie never got to meet our grandma on my dad's side. She is the one that passed away when she was 104.
Oh, wow.
Lovely, lovely woman, and you know she was in a I almost said sober living facility. No, she wasn't. She was in an assisted living facility in Cleveland because after our dad died, we ended up getting her moved in there. My sister ended up getting her moved in there. But so the long story short there, so I'm out in Cleveland, I get sober and doing all these things. And I think it was May when her birthday was. So this was, people were coming into town. We are going to go over and celebrate her birthday. And that I think would have been her, I think that would have been her 100th that year. And I was, so a year and like a month sober, I think, at that time. And the night before we went to a meeting, and it was typical thing. We stopped at this gas station, the Circle K. We'd always get, grab coffee or whatever. I think I bought a pack of cigarettes and a cup of coffee, and I was still using my debit card, so I kept the receipt. So I get home that night, and I looked, and they didn't charge me the 99 cents for the coffee. And I'm like, well, I need to get soda the next day to go to my grandma's thing. So I said, I'll just stop there, and I'll give them $1. So I go in there, I grab the soda, and I told the lady the thing. I'm like, oh, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Last night, he didn't charge me for the coffee. And she's like, no, it's okay. I'm like, no, here. And I gave her the $1, and she's like, seriously, the coffee's on us? I'm like, no, you don't understand. You need to take my $1, And she's like, okay. And she took my $1. But the last time when I first told that story, Mike's like, yeah, you're gonna go beat up some old lady if she doesn't take your $1.
You don't understand.
You don't get it, man. I'm gonna do evil fucking shit if I don't give you this $1. But it was one of those things at that point, and I would still do it. If they didn't want me, if they wouldn't take it today, I'd put it in one of the donation things or whatever it was there. I would give that money to that facility somehow. I wouldn't make a big deal out of it, but it was hugely important to me to not take from anyone anymore, and that's all part of that. Like Mike said, it inadvertently, on the surface, seems to have nothing to do with what we do, but it has everything to do with what we do. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That story reminds me of when we're in Ohio and you're getting coffee or whatever, and then you're at the gas station, I think, and you're getting creamer, and they wouldn't let you pay for the creamer or something. Yep. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, no, let me pay for it.
Yeah, because Mike, you and I went and got that, right?
Yeah, it was Mom's memorial thing.
Yeah. So we had, I don't know, what was it, 10 little things of that, and I think that, didn't we? I think we did.
We went up to the truck stop that was a few miles away. Yeah.
But didn't we?
She's going, no, just take it, and we ended up putting it in Toys for Tots or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Yeah, I was going to say, I think we did that. I think that was the same mentality. But but Mike and I are sitting over there. We both got we're shoving this stuff in our shirts, and just to carry it. Could get it up there and grab a bag. We're like, we could just fucking walk out. Or Mike, you try.
Oh yeah. Could.
Right. Tell the story again about Dr. Bob's house when we went down there a year ago with the hat.
With the hat?
Yes, the fedora.
The fedora. I don't remember.
When we went down for our anniversary weekend, we were going to walk downstairs. We got the full tour. We were walking, and you saw the fedora hanging there.
Oh, yeah. I was going to steal Dr. Bob's hat.
Yeah. So,
well, it's my thought.
I remember hearing that story.
Yeah,
that is my thought. Right. I didn't do it though. I didn't take the action.
but it is. I mean, and that was like a year and a half ago. So fucking 12 years sober. Yeah. Mike's going to steal the hat of one of the founding members of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Again, it was my first thought. God damn, that's a nice hat. Nobody's looking.
Yeah, and it was.
And I could have done it.
Right.
And I would have done it. But I didn't do it.
Right. Well, hey, you know what? On that note, the note of stealing Dr. Bob's hat, what do you say we take a break and catch our breath off of that one?
All right. Well, I'm going to go look at the hats that I own, that I paid for, right after this word from our sponsor.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober, Not Mature.
Hi there.
And, yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So
two.
2 websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.SoberNotMature.com. And we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's www.SoberNotMatureShop.com.
Ah.
But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Yeah, at least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me, 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And once again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping, though. Okay, now I got to say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. .com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is, again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
Did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone. You've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone. Welcome back. So did you find a hat that you liked, actually, or one that you actually paid
I've got
for?
lots of hats.
I know you do.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of hats.
They're all over the place.
Well, there was in shoes, too. The one episode that we
shoes.
did, I don't know what the fuck you were talking about, but somehow the shoes got in the episode. You took a picture of literally your...
Yeah, we're waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so for the episode picture, it's way back. It was like one of the, I don't know, 5th or 6th episode, something like that.
Yeah.
4th even, maybe. Yeah, right. But yeah, if you go back and look, there's a picture of a whole bunch of Chuck Taylors, and those are all mine.
Right. Yeah.
And they're not. It's about half of the ones that I have.
Yeah, but yeah, that made an episode thing. So, so Katie, when back to the residents and that sort of thing in the steps and the meetings, when people come back like that, are they? I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. Do they like start from scratch in whatever program you guys have, or you guys kind of feed them into it, or how does that happen when somebody comes back if they've relapsed?
So it's been a while, but I think they kind of work through it, kind of picking up, but also kind of refreshing. I don't know. I don't work with them too much on the steps, and I don't know as much of where they're at with the steps, but I do know that they work them. And if they do need help with anything, I help them. But I think they kind of like refresh a little bit and then keep working through them wherever they're at.
Right. And I was
Gotcha. Yeah. So I was curious, like, okay, so it's a hospital facility. I kind of know, but I mean, are people? Is it voluntary? Are they ordered there sometimes? How do people get there in the first place?
We got a mix. We have a couple people who are court ordered. I know one for sure is court ordered currently. But it fluctuates. Sometimes they're court ordered. Sometimes it's voluntary. I mean, with the kids, it's all...
the wife or the family says you need to go over here, right? Gotcha. Yeah, so kind of like everywhere, right? I was just curious.
Right. If I work with the kids, none of them ever want to be there, and they're there because their parents say they have to, or they're court ordered. They're never there voluntarily.
Right.
It says voluntary, but it's not. But with the adults, it's a mix.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
and it's a lockdown facility. I mean, or can somebody? So they can't necessarily just somebody can't just walk out the door, or if they're voluntary like that, could somebody just say, fuck it, I want to get my clothes on and leave? They could, as long as they weren't court ordered, or
They can. It's a process, but they can say like I want to leave, and they have to meet with medical and everything, like the doctors, and
gotcha.
talk about it. But I mean, if it's voluntary, like we can't really keep them. I mean,
Right. Yeah, it's a 72-hour thing. Right.
yeah,
A doctor could say, no, we're not letting them leave for 72. But after that, legally, yeah, right. You got to let them go.
yeah,
So you mentioned.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, unfortunately, like we do get a lot of people, especially the first couple days, they're not sure. Lately, we've had a lot of turnover, and it puts a lot of stress. I feel so bad for our nurse up there right now. She's been struggling. She's been going through it because they have people come in and they at first say they want to be there, but then they don't want to be there and they leave within a couple days. So it's unfortunate, but at the same time, you have to want to be there and work through it.
Mhm.
And if you're not ready, then I mean, it sucks, but we gotta let them go.
Right.
No, absolutely. I mean, we understand more than anybody. Nobody can force us to stop until we were ready.
Yep.
And I understand not wanting to be there, but also that
Mhm.
and I didn't want well the detox thing. I remember I was in. I mean, shit. I went in there on a Saturday night, and I don't remember anything until sometime on Monday, and then again my legs didn't work for whatever reason, so I'm kicking around in a fucking wheelchair, and then I think by Wednesday. I was forcing myself to walk because I was just so fucking pissed. I'm like, really? I can't fucking drink and now I can't fucking walk? That's not gonna happen. But then I was just sitting in the hospital room, and finally I don't know, whatever, I suppose nurse or resident, whatever, they're like, you need to go to a meeting. You need to be part of groups and stuff like that. I'm like, fuck.
Mhm.
And that's when I made that little collage, and then and Kathy ended up cutting out that thing for me, which again I have in a frame now that says, I don't want to be on my deathbed not having done something because it's too hard, and I
Mhm.
cut that out of a magazine with no intention of it being some, fucking phenomenal saying that I would have still to this day. But it was weird,
Mhm.
But they had a movie night, but they were still at that time they were monitoring my blood pressure because just sitting
Oh yeah.
watching a movie, my blood pressure was spiking, and then it'd go back down, and then it'd fucking spike and it'd go back down. That was what they were worried about mainly, was my blood pressure was fucking crazy.
Yep. Yeah, me
That
too.
was
Detox was fun.
Yeah. I was just gonna ask. I couldn't remember if you had a blood pressure thing too, but
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they were giving me Valium to keep it down because so I wouldn't fucking stroke out.
yeah, I don't know what they were giving me, but they were giving me something at night, and then I actually kind of like begged for it. The whatever it was, I got out on a Friday morning is when Mom and Kathy picked me up, but I remember Wednesday they wanted to not give me whatever they were at night, and I'm like, nah, man,
Mhm.
I need to sleep. So they gave it to me on Wednesday, and then refused to give it to me. The doctor wouldn't let me have whatever they were giving me on Thursday, and I
Mhm.
fucking barely slept, just barely slept.
Yep.
But then again, it's that whole thing. I mean, I didn't know how to sleep yet. I mean, another thing.
Oh yeah.
I got so fucking used to passing out every night. I didn't know how to fucking sleep anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and for me, that was a big part of it. It was like, I have to drink or else I won't
Right.
sleep. And I have to sleep because I have to get up and go to work and make some money so I can get some more booze.
So I could sleep again.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I only laugh because of course. I mean, why? Yeah, it all sounds logical to me.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, and I'm sure. I mean, so I did not want to be there, and I mean, Mike had more of a moment of clarity than I did. Obviously going into the Keating Center, but And I remember, I mean, going into the Keating Center that first night, and I literally, I mean, I told Kathy and Mom, I said, I'll stay for one day, and in my head, kind of like, yeah, I'm just gonna stay here and I'll leave if I want. I'm like, I don't have any fucking place to go. I mean, I think at that time I probably had I don't know, maybe 200 or 300 bucks in my bank account still, and that went quickly. I think I had to was like
Hmm.
some bill I had to pay, and then the rest of it was just cigarettes and whatever, and I was out of fucking money, and then I had to get allowance from my mom.
Hmm.
And she did. I don't know if you know that, Katie, but she gave me um, she used to give me 20 bucks a week in an allowance. And again, as a 41-year-old man, I got a $20 allowance from my mommy, and then she would buy me a 12 pack of soda every week, usually like chips. She made cookies. We've talked about her oatmeal
Hmm.
chocolate chip cookies that she made, but things like that. She would give me. But then I remember out of that $20, we went to meetings every night, and there was like I figured it out because I was buying. Everyone was rolling cigarettes at that time, so you had to buy the
Hmm.
papers, and then the cheapest
Mm-hmm.
tobacco
The
you could get. Yeah, the
tubes.
tubes. That's right. I'm sorry. So the tubes, and then the cheapest tobacco you could find, and then so I could buy a bag of that plus whatever tubes I would need, and then I know $3. I think $3 a week went to meetings, and then I think I had
Hmm.
like I don't know $2 or $3 left over. I mean, but everything was accounted for. I mean, we had meals and all that stuff. We weren't necessarily it's not we weren't wanting for any of that place to live that we didn't have to pay for, and we had meals
Right.
and whatever. But yeah. That was my 20 bucks a week, and it's but the thing of it is I couldn't give money at all the meetings. I mean, I do now if I go to a meeting. Sometimes I'll put $5 in the basket because I just don't go to a lot of meetings. I'm like, well, this makes up for all the other meetings that I missed.
Right.
But so did you say they go to outside meetings also, Katie, or
Yeah.
okay.
Um, yeah, they go to, I know there's at least one AA and one NA meeting
Hmm.
every week. There might
Is there a
be,
van?
there is
How
the big van.
did I know
Right,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, they go to two or three. And then
Cool.
I think it's one or two on on unit in the group room
Right.
every week.
In
So,
house. Right.
yep.
Right. So they go out to those outside meetings, get all jacked up on coffee, and it's got to be fun when they come back.
Right.
Yeah, we had to like because they're not supposed to buy like energy drinks. So,
Hmm.
and one of them that they go to, they have a whole like coffee bar and like they've got energy drinks there, and we have to keep an eye on
Oh,
that.
really?
Like they really want those. Yeah,
Yeah. So they probably go to a clubhouse
Yeah.
somewhere. Right.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Well, did
Yeah, we're pretty fucked up. We'll screw things up going to a meeting.
Well, I mean, I know that energy drinks were a big deal. I mean, for a lot of the guys when
Uh-huh.
we were at the Keating Center, and I don't know that were they allowed to have them actually in the Keating Center or no? I mean, I never got into energy drinks, but do you remember if we could actually have them
Right.
in there?
Well, it was, it was one of the flowing things there at the Keating Center.
Right.
Right. Yeah. 1 week it would be okay. The next week, Marty would go, "You guys can't fucking have these anymore."
Right.
And, that would last for a couple of weeks, and then But yeah, there were definite times when we were in there that he said absolutely not, no. Because it would be getting out of control. The guys would be in there drinking 3 and 4 of them and getting all jacked, man. And it's like, you can't do that,
Right.
man.
Yeah, and I thought I remembered that, but the reason I didn't drink energy drinks before I got sober, not the last place I worked, but one of the last places I worked, it was a lawn care company. We would do field sales, and one of the guys that I hung out with, I also drank with him too, but I think they were Monsters at that time that he was drinking, and he drank like 2 pretty good sized Monsters like within 45 minutes, and had to fucking take a knee because his heart was pounding so much. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, maybe you shouldn't do that. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about with all the coffee you drink? I'm like, you don't see me hit my knees over it though, do you? I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. But I mean, that actually, for whatever reason, that kind of, I don't know, that probably scared me. I guess is because he was my age. I'm like, man, I don't need I drink enough coffee. I don't need to blow my fucking heart up with with a goddamn energy drink or six or whatever these guys are drinking.
Right. That's what meth is for.
Well, what is the is it Jaeger bombs that has the monster in it?
I
Katie?
don't know.
Do you remember?
They have Red Bull in them.
Oh yeah, Red Bull and is it Red Bull and Jaeger?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a Jaeger bomb. Okay, so I was trying to think.
Yep.
That was the only time
Freaking nasty.
Oh, I know they are, but it was a place that Dawn and I used to go to. That's the first time I ever had one. It was the pool hall bike that Dawn and I used to go to. That every once in a while,
Right.
that was like the first time I ever had one. I mean, they're again for a shot, it is what it is. But yeah, they're it's fucking Jägermeister and Red Bull. It's great.
Well,
Mm.
Derek's Uncle Mike, that's still what he drinks all the time.
Jaeger or Jaeger bombs?
All the time. Jaeger bombs.
Really?
Or just straight Jaeger. Well, not really straight Jaeger, but he'll drink Jaeger bombs. And I'm like, you're disgusting.
Yeah, Mike's an interesting one. He's a good dude, but yeah, he's got his moments. That's for sure. But so what else about the anything else that that you want to share about? I mean, what you do about the residents? Any questions for us? I mean, because I know that you've asked questions along the way and stuff like that. Again, this is your time to share your young mind, your young thoughts, and your young questions with us.
Well, one question that I had written down. Sorry, I'm like battling allergies and whatever.
You just cut.
One question that I had written down, my residents were actually talking about. They were asking or talking about medically assisted treatment. So
Yeah.
I was wondering your guys' thoughts on that because I've never talked with either of you guys about that. Because they were saying that some people are saying that if they're using, I don't know if you're familiar with like Campral or like Suboxone or Antabuse, any of those. If
Right.
you're using medications to stay sober, are you actually sober? I know my thoughts on it, and I'd say yes, you are. But
Mm.
Well, go ahead, Mike. And we do have opinions on this. I'll let Mike go first on there too.
No, you're not sober. That's the short answer. No, absolutely not. Yeah, you can't substitute. You can't. There are people that California sober, right? People that still smoke pot. I would love to smoke pot. I love to smoke pot. It was a wonderful thing. I can't smoke pot because if I smoke pot, then I get thirsty. If I get thirsty, I'm going to drink something. If I drink something, I'm going to go get some heroin. That's just the way it is for me. You're not sober. You're not. You're substituting one thing for another. You're not getting to the root of the problem. We are living proof that if you get to the root of that problem, you can live without anything. It's a shortcut. It's a crutch. It's not being truly sober. Yes, you're not using your drug of choice anymore. Yes, you may be manageable and functioning, but you're not sober. You're not. You may be better than you were, and that's great, but you're still not sober.
Right.
so then another so you said if you smoke pot, then you're not you'll get thirsty, whatever. What about tobacco products, nicotine?
Okay.
Well, here, real
Right.
real
Yeah,
quick
well,
on the.
okay.
I'm just gonna have a short thing on the Suboxone and stuff like that. So to give you another example, Katie, is that when both of us were in detox, God only knows what drugs they gave us, to get us from, raging 0.44 alcoholics, blood alcohol level of 0.44 down to where we, weren't going to die. So during that time frame, they medically brought us down, right, Mike? I mean, that's.
Right.
But that was used where they had to do that, or we could have seized up or died. And that's a process to get us to even, right? So same thing, and I know that like with methadone and Suboxone and stuff like that, there's a lot of people that use those substances to kick the habit, but then start, figuring that, again, it could be a taper down. I've never done that. I've never done drugs, but that, from what I understand, am I wrong on that, Mike, that some people use that as a taper type of thing?
Well, they could tell themselves that, sure.
Right, okay.
Ex-girlfriend of mine has been on methadone for 20 years. She doesn't do heroin anymore, but right. Yeah, and as an ex-heroin addict, or still a heroin addict that doesn't use anymore, you're not going to die. You're going to feel like you're going to die. You're going to want to die, but you're not going to die. Fucking kick.
Right.
And remember that kick so that you don't pick it when you want to get high again. Go, fuck, man, I don't want to go through that again. So, yes, alcohol is actually the one drug that if you don't get medical attention, and my daughter's friend about 6 months ago died because she was going to do it herself and get off alcohol, and she died. So it is the one drug where you can't just quit. All the other ones, like I said, you're going to feel like you're going to die, you're going to want to die, but you're not going to die. It's an easier, softer way.
Right.
Get uncomfortable and face your goddamn problems. And once you do that, you don't have to use anymore. It's much better this way.
But even if somebody, let's say somebody's a pussy, they want to use that to taper down, they shouldn't consider themselves sober until they're free of substances, is both of our opinions, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, nicotine.
Right.
Sitting here with a pack of Marlboros right next to me.
Yeah.
I also have some caffeine right next to me.
I've got half a cup of coffee here, so.
Right. There you go. Right. And you probably got your vape somewhere near you, too.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yes, it is an addiction. But it's not an addiction that makes me hurt anybody else. It's not an addiction that I'm going to go knock your grandmother over the head so I can go get a pack of cigarettes. It's not. Other things would. I'm not going to steal from you to get a pack of cigarettes yet. They keep jacking the prices up, maybe. But but no. And it doesn't. It doesn't alter my mood. It doesn't change the way I think. It's a little mild stimulant that helps me get through the day. And I mean, yes, it is addiction. Yes, I should probably stop. Will I? No. I like to smoke.
Right.
And I will continue to smoke. I like to have caffeine. I don't drink coffee very often, but I have caffeine every day. Yeah. And I'll get a headache if I don't.
Right.
And I will live through that headache, and I won't go beat up your grandmother because of that headache.
But that is the thing that and it's something that I remember my dad saying this when he got sober, that he will not put or he wouldn't put anything into his body that was mood or mind altering. So
right.
And the same thing with Mike and I talked about. Melatonin. Kimmy takes it. I know a lot of people take it, and I know it's natural. But Mike's point is, so is weed. But the whole thing is that it's probably not, from what I understand, an addictive substance. But I would feel weird about. I don't want to take anything to help myself sleep. If I get trouble sleeping, then I need to work on myself and make sure I can clear my head and to be able to sleep. There's something going on in me if I can't sleep, because I don't have trouble sleeping, unless some shit's going on. So I don't want to put anything in me to help me, try to sleep like that. But I'm also of the opinion that I don't eat food, that's cooked in alcohol. That's my opinion. It's just the same thing. I remember hearing that my dad, years and years and years ago, and people will say all the time, well, you realize it gets cooked off, and that's and that. I'm like, here's the deal. I don't want to have a whiskey burger because I don't need to taste whiskey today. I don't want to have something, even though I wasn't a wine drinker, I don't want something that reminds me of alcohol. If somebody made a margarita pizza, I don't want that, or a tequila taco, whatever it is. Whatever the fuck it is. I don't want any of that stuff. I've made coffee before. I got coffee in a gas station, and I'm like, this tastes like whatever, and I dump it out, because I don't think it's going to make me relapse, but I don't need I don't need that shit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, to this day, I can't drink grapefruit juice
Right.
because at the end it was vodka and grapefruit juice. That's what I've been. It's just that taste. It's like, meh. I'll go get some orange juice, or I'll just, have have something with caffeine in it.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Those are definitely not arguments that I've heard before. Because, well, when they were talking about it, and I was kind of thinking about it, like, I hadn't really thought about that before they brought it up. But when I was originally thinking about it, I was like, oh, well, I take, for example, Lexapro to treat my depression, anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
or if somebody is taking um, medications for their blood pressure or whatever it is, like, um, I thought about it that way, but it also makes sense where you guys are coming from.
Right.
So, I don't know. I'm kind of like in between now.
Mm.
Well,
Right. Well, I mean, and
I
there's
won't say
different
I'm
things.
sold either
Right.
way,
Like
but
metal stuff. A guy in my home group, my AA home group. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's had some mental problems and he takes medication for it, and that's fine. The big book talks about that. Some of us need that extra. Some of us need more than just AA and more than just not drinking. And using illicit drugs. Sometimes some people need different things, and that's fine. Prescribed by a doctor, used as prescribed. There's no problem with that. Now you could say yes, Suboxone is prescribed by a doctor. Everybody I know that's used it doesn't use it as prescribed. So
sure.
that's anecdotal, but yes, they don't. They take more, and it does change your mood, and I doesn't work for me. Doesn't work for me. Abstinence is the only thing that works for me.
Well, and here's a realistic example too. So I quit smoking cigarettes, 6 months ago, but
Right.
I'm substituting with a vape. I quit smoking, but I'm not tobacco free. Or I'm sorry, nicotine free. I'm not nicotine
Nicotine
free.
free. Right.
So is it better? I don't think so. Am I inhaling tar and all that shit in my lungs anymore? No. Have I noticed a difference? I think so. From walking, whatever, and that sort of thing. And I started to feel it a little bit. I think with smoking. Plus I don't. I don't have to spend money on cigarettes every day. I don't have to smell like smoke. Whatever the case is. But I'm still. It's a substitute. This is that the vape is it's the methadone of cigarettes. I guess if you really want to put it that way.
Right.
And once again, it just I know that the only reason that quitting cigarettes and smoking wasn't I was surprised that it wasn't like super difficult. But I had this crutch the entire way. And Mike, you just said that with the Suboxone and that sort of thing. And it's a crutch. Do I think I could quit now? That I've teared down like that. I think it'd be easier, for me to, just give up the vape and not have it be a thing. But I know my body still needs the nicotine. It's there. I can feel it. If I first time I hit that vape in the morning, I can still feel it like I did a cigarette. So that would be if I was tried to explain or say that I'm nicotine free, I'm nicotine sober, and I just had big old fucking quotes with that. Because here's the other thing too that. I'm of the opinion, and Mike's of the opinion. I think I don't want to speak for you completely, but I think I'm okay doing it. Is that sober is more than just not having booze or not having drugs. It's a lifestyle. So when we were joking with Kathy the one time at Founders Day about she hadn't walked in at Founders Day and she's like, I've been sober for 2 days. I'm like, you have not. But because her mindset was she hadn't had a drink, hadn't had any wine or anything like that in a couple of days. Not for any other reason, she just didn't, because she could do that. But and people who say
Weirdo.
that people that say, no, I was stone cold sober when I did that. I wasn't drunk, I was sober. Well, no, you were just without alcohol. That's all it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because sober for us, at least the way that we were taught, the way it's a thing we have to do. Sobriety is more than we put down the booze, but then like Mike said, we still got to take care of all this other shit. How do we act? What do we do? Do we have a routine? Do we have a program in place? All those sort of things. All these different things contribute to us being sober. Now, if somebody walks up to me, a normie, like Katie, if you walked up to me and one day and like, oh no, it's all good. I'm not drinking today. We're cool to drive. We're both sober. I'm not going to say, no, you're fucking not.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. We just did it to Kathy because it was fun to fuck around with her. She just walked right into it that time. But it's more than, so that's the same thing, the word California sober. It's like, okay, if people want to say I don't drink alcohol anymore, but I still smoke weed, fine, put it that way. I stopped, shooting heroin and smoking crack, but I still have some beers, fine. So you're not clean. Well, technically, I suppose if you wanted to separate those, you could say I'm clean, but I'm not sober. Whatever people want to say, it's all
whatever
it is. It's you can slice it up any way you want. It's all words, although words matter. It comes down to what people are doing with themselves, not necessarily what they want to call themselves.
Right. And like Bill said, sobriety to us is, yes, we don't put the substances in anymore, but we're also trying to make ourselves better people. That's true sobriety to us is trying to make ourselves better and be better people. And by doing that we don't have to get loaded. That's the difference for us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you're not shooting heroin anymore, but you're taking Suboxone or methadone or whatever, as far as I'm concerned, you're not sober, because you're just substituting one substance for another, and you're not working on the problem.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, and again, these are our opinions, and it's funny. So we've talked about this a couple of times too. That there's a lot of different podcasts that I've listened to, and so many of the people are like, well, "We're not going to cast our opinions on here," and I'm always like, "Why the fuck not?" You're not telling people what to do, but yes, we all have, number one, a right to our opinion, and I think people, if we didn't give opinions, why would I don't know, why even pick up a fucking microphone? I don't understand it. So, but my point with that is these are just our opinions. We're not saying that, whatever anyone wants to do, fine, fuck, do whatever the fuck you want. But yeah, from our opinion side of things, it's certainly not what we would consider, to be sober,
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right, so go into work and tell them that they're all fucked up, and then
or just
you're wrong.
Yeah, just play this episode for them. Say these guys said you're wrong, and then hit play.
Well, I was telling them that I was gonna go on the podcast, and they are asking where they could listen to it. They want to listen, so
Good.
Well, I know.
To my residents, this does not mean that you cannot take meds, but
No, of course not. And
this
we
is
said
their
that.
opinion.
Right.
This is our opinion, and absolutely, you can. Medicine is there for a reason, and again, doctor prescribed and use as prescribed. I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
But if you're if you're substituting a medication for your drug of choice, that's you're not trying to get sober.
Yeah,
You're just trying to.
That's the gray
ease.
area.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
how many?
And for me, that doesn't work.
And how many leads have we heard where, people have said that, I finally got put down the booze and I started work on things, and once I did that, I figured out and went into the doctor, and people have found out again that they were suffering from depression, so they're taking medicine, like you had mentioned, Katie. I know, and I don't know if I can't think of anyone specifically, not that it would matter, but I've heard a number of people figure out that they found out that they were bipolar, that
Right.
there was those sort of
yeah.
things, and actual true things, these mental health issues, that they needed medications to even themselves out, and there's 100% nothing wrong with that. But to Mike's exact point, and what these people did, that we're talking about is they put down the booze, they put down the drugs, they started working through their stuff, and then found out that, hey, now I've got the clarity, to figure out what's going on. Gary, that we just had on last week, said that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he was able to deal with some of the trauma, you know, and figure some shit out. But he had to get the booze out of the way first, start working
Mhm.
his program, and then he was able to work on his mental health. Now, if it requires medication for that sort of thing, cool. You know, that is what it
Right.
is. And you know what? Mike and I
Mm-hmm.
have been lucky. We
Mm.
both walked out of, you know, all the shit that we did to ourselves. Mike far more substances, you know, than I did, because I did
Hi there.
one. Listen to him, hi there. Um, but again, we walked through that stuff, ended up on the other
Mm-hmm.
side with no major health issues, no mental health problem. Well, I mean, we're fucking nuts, but I mean that
Yeah.
doesn't, you know, not diagnosed.
Mm. Right.
We neither one of us have been diagnosed with anything mental health related yet.
Right. Right.
You know,
Keyword is yet.
hey, it always is, man. It always is.
Mm-hmm.
It's at some point, yeah. There's been times in these episodes where like, if there's a psychologist or anyone listening or a psychiatrist, fuck it, just whatever. We just do what we do.
Right.
Although we had Dr. Sarah on. She was cool, you know.
Yeah.
She
Right. Oh, she co-signed all kinds of bullshit for us.
signed all of our bullshit, and she's almost 40 years sober. So, but the whole point there
Right.
is, yes, just to reiterate, these are our opinions, what we did. But yes, if you require medication, you know, for anything that you're doing, take your
Mm-hmm.
doctor's advice. That would be the best thing in the world to do.
Mhm.
Right. And with everything we do, keep yourself accountable.
Mhm.
Have a support system. Don't do it by yourself.
Right.
Right. Because we'll, you know, for me personally, I will, you know, if I am prescribed something because it is something I need, thankfully I don't, like Bill said. But if I did, if I'm all on my own trying to do it by myself, I will abuse it,
Right.
guaranteed, because that's what I do. So, you know, so I have to keep myself accountable, let people know what I'm doing. You know, this is, you know, I've been prescribed this. I need to take this because, you know, my head's fucked up, but keep an eye on me because please keep an eye on me. Yeah, but like Bill said, you know, we are very lucky in that, you know, many people that go through what we went through were self-medicating for several, you know, different things, mental problems and whatever. It wasn't our case. We're just selfish and self-centered. We wanted to feel good all the time. But yes, again, like I said, the member of my home group, you know, and I've watched him for the past 5 years, and you know, he's talked about it with us again, keeping himself accountable, and you know, he says, you know, yeah, they're adjusting it, they're upping this and bringing this down, you know, and I've watched him over the years, and he's in a really good spot now because he's done that. I mean, he was squirrely as hell when he first came in. You know, and he's actually like regular kind of normal dude now. He's still squirrely, but you know, that's why I love him. That's
Right.
why we're friends.
Right.
But yes, you know, but I just can't say it enough. But if you're substituting one drug for another, that does not work.
Sure.
I'm going to take Suboxone because I can't take heroin anymore. No, you know, just go take heroin. It's cheaper.
Right. But yeah, I mean, and Mike's right too. I mean, we'll rationalize anything, and we'll, you know, it's the accountability and, you know, prescribed or all that sort of thing. You know,
Mhm.
just either one of us still to this day we can justify anything if we, you know, if we want to or need to. So yeah, it's just
Mhm.
Yep.
what they call a slippery
Left to
slope.
my own devices, I can justify anything
Right.
that I have.
Right. Right. I'll eat 2 drumsticks if I can, and all I need is 1, but I'll eat 2. So what other questions do you have for us, Miss Katie?
I don't think I have anything else. I think we covered everything that we've talked about in the past that I was going to bring up, and
Hmm.
that's all I got right now.
Really? Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, it's kind of like your time to like dig into whatever you want, but
Isn't this our time, Mr. Hand?
you know,
And she has no idea what I'm talking about.
do you know what that's from?
Nope.
Come
Of
on,
course not. No, they don't.
it's on Netflix now. I was just gonna say that the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Have you heard of that?
Nope.
God damn you.
Nope.
Okay, sit
No,
down.
of course not.
Are you and Derek, like, are you hanging out tonight or tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night. I mean, tonight I'm going to meet him where he's at, but
Oh, was gonna say that I know one of you guys has Netflix. It's on Netflix now.
Yeah.
Sit down and watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It's Sean Penn. I know you know who Sean Penn is, and then a couple other people that you'll know throughout there. But it's from the '80s, but it's funny. It's a funny movie, and that's one of the scenes in there. I think it's a movie that I think it still stands. I think that holds up. You think or no? No, you don't think so?
No, probably not.
Really?
It was us, man. It was us. We're old.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's just I've watched I've watched some movies from back then. I haven't rewatched that, but I just saw it just popped up the other day. It was on there, and I saved it. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it again. But yeah, it's just it is kind of funny. But either way, okay. So don't watch it. I don't care. Do whatever you young people do. I don't know. I don't care.
It's added to my list, so.
Ah.
All right. So no other like burning questions. Nothing else from your residents. Nothing else curiosity wise on your end, or because I mean, hey, we're us. We're open books, and we'll answer anything you want if you got any questions.
Yeah, not right now.
Okay. Now we have something that we need you to do though. You need to tell all your fucking young friends out there to listen to this because we need a spike. We need a spike in
All
young
right.
people.
I will share the Facebook post when it comes out that it's up.
Well, what's funny is, and we, like I said, we've been getting an increase in that, whatever that demographic is. I think it's 18. It might be 18 to 22 or 18 to 24, whatever it is. But I happened to look, I don't know, last night or whatever it was, and in the last 7 days, we've had no one. But I mean, Gary, I think, no one in that age group,
Right.
But I think that, I think Gary's, he didn't say how old he was. I think if he's not our age, he's maybe a little bit younger than us, but.
I was going to say he's probably like mid-40s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that could. Maybe he did say that, but
yeah.
But I mean, it got a lot of plays. I mean, he pushed it out to a lot of people he knew, but it's gotten a lot of plays so far. But and then next week we have, I think Carly and Breeze I think they're in their 30s, so we have young-ish people, but once again, not your demo, Katie. So.
Yeah, and get all them screwheads there in the ward to listen to us. It'll be fun. Hi, screwheads.
Hello, residents. and we mean that in the best way possible. We love you guys, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And we've been there. I know I've been there.
I know.
I had a couple 72-hour lockdowns in my history. Oh, yeah.
Well, and I was, both of us, you were 6 days in detox, right?
That's 7.
Yeah, was it 7? I went in on.
It was 7 for me, yeah, because I had to wait for a bed to open up at the Keating Center.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I stayed an extra day.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I went in those late Saturday night and got out Friday morning at, I don't know, it was before noon, but yeah, I was in there 6 days. So okay, but yeah, so both of us have been in that thing and in that situation. So yeah, we do. We know what you guys are going through. But hey, enjoy. We got now 82 episodes. Fill up some of your downtime.
Right.
Katie will set up the.
You're having trouble falling asleep? Listen to us.
Yeah, exactly. Make this a new group time. Who's that? Is that Becky that does that with her groups?
Yeah, she plays us for groups she does.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of our good sober friends in Cleveland. She'll play this for her. What does she do? Is she a counselor?
I couldn't tell you. She might. I don't know. She does groups someplace.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you.
But she'll do that every once in a while. She'll play our podcast episodes for her for her groups. All right. So nothing else. Last chance. Going once. Going twice.
I'm good.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Well, yeah. You know how this shit ends. So go on, Mike. End this shit.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. We want to thank Katie for coming on and talking to us. She actually knows us, and she still came on, so that was pretty brave. Be sure to kiss that young man for us, because we love him a lot. And now it is time, kids, for you to go out and do something nice for somebody else this week. Do something kind. Don't tell anybody you did it. And now it is that time. It is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off till you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate. Dream the impossible dream. And keep fucking off forever.
I was so looking forward to hearing that live.
And it's my favorite part. Not my favorite. Well, yeah, it is. It's one of my favorite parts.
That's my favorite part because
Right.
it means we're done.
So, just real quick thing, and this will take 1 minute. So, I'm listening to one of the podcasts today that I listen to every week, and it's the male female combo, which I enjoy this particular podcast. So I'm flipping it on. I flip it on while I'm driving, and I see it's like a 10-minute episode. So they're like, oh, entire year we went through was episode 52, blah blah blah. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna take a break. We're not sure when we're gonna come back with this and that. And I'm like, you guys are fucking taking a break? What the fuck? They're talking about sabbaticals and taking time for themselves and this and that. And yeah, we don't have, and I'm like, oh, fuck you. And they're like, time for us to reset. We're going to come back with this. We have no defined time to come back. And I'm like, you know what? Part of me was like, we're better than everyone because we never take a break.
Right. Because our bed's made, so fuck off.
Our bed's made, and we haven't missed an episode in 82 fucking weeks. So, yeah,
That's right.
Fuck all of you and your breaks. So there you go. Okay, that's it. That's all I got. But seriously, Katie, thank you very much for coming on. As always, we appreciate everything. So if you ever have any questions, you know where to find us, right?
Yeah. Thank you guys for dealing with me for the last hour or so.
Ah, shit.
It was a pleasure.
I was gonna say you're nothing to deal with. You're easy. You're a lot of fun. And we love you. And Mike, I love you, brother. And we will
Love
talk
you too.
to all of you
Love you
soon.
guys.
Bye.
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 As always, thank you for listening to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. To access all of our content and interact with us, please visit our website, SoberNotMature.com. Thank you again for listening, and we will talk to you soon.